Welcome back to another episode on the Jump Fitness Podcast. You already know who it is. But if it's your first time tuning in, hi, welcome. I'm Grace Moreno, or Coach G for short. Don't actually address me by my full government name. That is just weirdly odd. Nah, girl, you can call me just G or Grazel, okay? That's what. Keep it simple. Anyways, today's episode is going to be so good because I know not one person doesn't struggle with this. And that is like, what do you even do when you don't feel like working out? And there's different levels to this. And so I'm going to tackle it as best as I can and as efficient as I can, obviously, because I don't want this to be a lengthy podcast episode to listen to. I want you to just get what you need, the most important thing, and then take what you learn and run with it. Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to address is going to be more of a review, so to speak. There is a previous episode that I already launched that you can listen to for a more in depth breakdown. So, if you need more of that, you can go into the show notes and click a click to get to that. It's the 3C's framework, which is crush your excuses. It's one of my popular downloads and popular podcast episodes that I've released yet. So, that's telling you something. Lots of value in there. However, one thing I just want you to understand at the moment is that you are not always going to feel like working out. Okay. And that has nothing to do with your ability to get it done. Like we've all been there. Alarm goes off and we snooze it for the millionth time because we ain't feeling it. We're just like, especially now that it's getting colder, like at this time to whenever you're listening to this, at the time of the recording, this is around end of October. So it's getting kind of little chilly. So it's easier to just snooze in the morning. And the same thing, like in the evening, it's just like it's getting so dark. Like it almost makes you feel like, okay, well, it's time to like, get ready for bedtime and it's time for me to wind down. Like it just has a different vibe, right? Regardless, though, there is also like when it's like after a stressful day of work, it's almost like the last thing you want to do is go get your workout done. Okay. It's almost like every cell of your body is saying, absolutely not. So today, what we're going to talk about is what to do when your motivation is nowhere to be found. Okay. Or like you just don't feel like working out. First things first, is you need to learn and practice the 3C framework for crushing your excuses. This is first C is to call it out. Okay. This is just noticing and naming that you're making an excuse or a potential excuse like, oh, I don't feel like working out. So I just don't want to. I just won't. You might, that's an excuse. Or I don't feel like working out because you know what? It's getting late. Oh, I don't feel like working out because whatever, right? Like I didn't get a good enough sleep or whatever excuses come up. I just don't feel like working out in general, right? Call it out. Call out and name the fact that you're making an excuse, right? You then get to challenge it. Be like, do you really not feel like working out or are you being lazy right now? What's another one? Like, are you really busy? And that's why you don't feel like it because you're super stressed out? Or is it just a nice little cop out, because you've just been adulting all day and the last thing you want is to sit here and adult again by showing up and being disciplined and like going to the gym or getting a workout in or whatever, right? And the third C is call the shots as the future you. Currently, especially as you're working towards a goal, you have to learn and practice to operate from the future version of yourself who already has the goals that you want, not the current version of yourself that you're looking to outgrow or the version of yourself that's holding you back, okay, or keeping you stuck. All right. This is a very important distinction because if you ask your current version of yourself, like, what would you rather do? Skip the workout or just show up regardless? Your current version would be like, oh, it feels the best idea is to skip the workout. But the future you would be like, no, you get to show up because this is about building consistency. This is building a discipline. This is showing up despite how you feel. It's creating and maintaining consistency and momentum despite what you're feeling, what's going on, to always be focusing on what you can control or what you have some control over versus relinquishing and just being like, well, you know what? I don't feel like it. So I guess today I'm just not going to make it happen. I'm just not going to. Okay. Anyways, that is a brief overview of the 3C framework for crushing your excuses. As I said earlier, you can head to the show notes and refer to that podcast so that you can listen to the breakdown of it. Now, moving to my second point, what to do when you don't feel like working out. I need you to create your own pre-gym or pre-workout hype ritual. for me, what I love doing, what's always worked for me is blasting my favorite music and like maybe having a little Brevi pre-workout energy drink, or maybe sometimes if it's a cardio day, I'm just drinking electrolytes. So having a little ritual, blast your music, dance it out, twerk some, shake some, sip some, whatever. Like turn it into a whole little club situation and hype yourself up. You might even have to, you know, pep talk yourself or say some affirmation, whatever the heck works for you. Maybe it's putting on a cute outfit because when you feel your best, you do your best. And not like weirdly enough, for me, it's like sometimes when I don't feel like it, if I just go jump in a shower and kind of get ready for the workout or just like make this whole thing, I feel so much better going into it. Now, I will say there are times, and most recently I was not having it, and I still applied all the strategies that I know usually works for me, but I can tell I was like, this is not working as great as it could be. And so, and I'll get into this in a little bit. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself here, but I'll share with you later what I've done when I didn't necessarily feel super up to it. Well, I guess just tell you now, because who knows, I might not even remember to bring it up again. However, so like let's say for example I'm not feeling it, right? I blast my music, I'm dancing it out, it's usually some Y2K music, some millennial stuff. Am I, just clubbing it, club music, sipping my thing and thumbing music and just vibing out to my music, right? That usually works. The other day it didn't. Okay, I had to get my run in, was not feeling it, was not feeling like getting my workout in at all. Tried everything, didn't work, just didn't work, and that's okay. I still showed up for my workout. Now, did I have the greatest workout? I did not. I didn't. I didn't. But I understanding that, like, if I continue to keep feeding the energy of I don't feel like it, I hate every moment of this or whatever, I'm not going to ever get it done. And I don't want to sit in that feeling for too long. So what I did was when I finally was out on a run, what I shift my focus on, which actually helped with me, like kind of get myself out of my own head and just like focus my energy outward, which is I would wave and say hi to everybody that I was walking past. Now I know this is not may not be the case for you because you could be working out at home or you could be working out where no one else is around you. So, take it with a grain of salt. But I just wanted to share this because you might find yourself in this situation. So for me, when I was on my walk, when I shifted my focus on saying hi to other people or like sharing, like making a compliment to other people, like, oh my God, love your guys' outfit. Like, me doing that or saying good morning, good afternoon, whatever to other people and kind of approaching it from like, you know what? I'm not having the best day. Like I don't, I'm not fully here. I don't really want to do this right now. And I hate this freaking feeling because I don't always feel like this, but it's like when I do, it's just so intense. But it's like instead of feeling that way, I wanted to shift that energy. So what are the things that I found that worked for me was to kind of spread kindness. And so for me, that shows up as acknowledging people and strangers that I see and complimenting them. And obviously, like, you don't have to fake the compliments. Like, I genuinely thought these ladies had a really cute outfit on, like they were killing it on their little walk. So I said it. And like for me, even though those are small micro moments, it was enough to like make me feel at the very least like distracted from my own feeling of like hate being here. Like this sucks. Like I'm not even halfway through my workout. Another thing I wanted to share in that moment is that I kept in constant communication with my husband, especially as I was halfway through or had the 1 mile left, and just allowing myself to vent. Here's the thing: when it comes to support system, and this is my other point too, as far as like strategies to get yourself to work out, like having a pre-gym ritual is obviously really, really beneficial to just like do what it doesn't even have to be what I mentioned of like blasting your music, dancing it out. It could be whatever gets you in the mood. Going back to the support system though, it's really important to have a really good support system around you. Okay. For me, when I'm not feeling it, it's helpful that my husband knows that I was supposed to get my workout in that day. So I can give him all my excuses and he'll just be like, honey, come on, you said you were going to do it, let's just get it done. Like you don't even have to, like he'll pep talk and he'll help. And he doesn't come from a disrespectful standpoint of like, bruh, stop being lazy. That's never the energy. First of all, if you even showed up with that type of energy, I would have clocked you, I would have socked you in front of your face. Like, what, boo boo kitty, like don't come at me like that. Okay. All right. But again, just define what a good support system looks like for you. And a lot of times these could be like people like your partner, your family, your friends, but have a good support system who will not enable you or your bad behaviors, but actually help you stay accountable to the goals that you're working towards. And so it's really important to have that. And in the topic of support system, a lot of people find that it's helpful to have a buddy, a workout buddy, and that typically works for majority of the people as long as they schedule actually links up. Where it gets problematic is when you rely on someone to show up so that you can get your workout in, but the schedule doesn't quite line up. So instead of creating consistency, we have a codependency situation here. And instead of like being able to just get the workout done, all of a sudden you're like, oh, my friend can't show up, can't go with me, so I just won't go. No, it's a bonus. Like if you have a workout buddy, it makes it easier and more fun to get it done. Amazing. Yay for that. But if your workout buddy is sick or has other commitment stuff that they can't go at the same time as you or work out as you, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden now you can't get your workout done. You should still be able to get your workout done. It just means that it's easier when you do have a workout buddy. Okay. I am very, very big on coaching my clients to be able to, one, get themselves to do the workout or stick to the plan or commit like the commitment without having to rely on other people. Okay. Because a lot of times, as you'll come to learn, people can sometimes be very unreliable. So you need to be so good and so grounded and solid with you that anything additional is just more of like, it's a nice to have, not a must have for you to be consistent at your fitness journey. Okay. All right. So let me just give me a second. I'm like, check my little notes, make sure I hit all the stuff I was going to talk about. I think I didn't talk about this earlier, but like, getting ready and having a cute outfit in. But there's another one where it's like sometimes you just got to put on your shoes and just go. Okay. Find a trigger that allows you to like to be like, you know what, when I do this, I'm ready to go. Like I'm gonna get this done. There's no negotiating, renegotiating. It's just we're doing this. Okay. Despite how we're feeling. Okay. Effectively what you want your pre-gym ritual to be, or like your pre-gym hype ritual to be, is something that flips the switch for you to go from like I don't want to be like, all right, let's go, let's get it done. Like something that shifts it for you, and that can look very differently from person to person. I think what would be super helpful is for you to kind of identify what that is for you and just get curious as you're practicing and going about it. Or you can borrow some of the things that I've mentioned here that will help you out, and just give it a try, because you're not going to know until you try it. Every idea sounds like a good idea until you put it to the test, and then you'll be like, well, actually, that doesn't work for me. Or actually, you know what? I didn't ever thought that would work for me, but actually, I noticed that it was changing my mood and actually made it easy for me to be committed whenever I did X, Y, and Z. So again, always, you never know unless you try. Now, I want to do a quick like distinction between when your workouts are the first thing in the morning or after a long day of work. Okay. I'm not going to touch on middle of the day type workouts because a lot of these tips and things can be used interchangeably across the rest of the day. It just depends. And so, for example, for the morning, right? You already know what makes it really, really hard to get up in the morning and not hit snooze and to get your workout done. So, one of the things that you could do is to make sure your bedtime routine, part of what you do is to make your mornings smoother. Okay. And this is like, I'm going to put you up on game. My clients who swear they're not morning people, I'm like, yeah, okay, you're not a morning person. That's fine. All we did was focus on the nighttime ritual and the bedtime routine. And somehow being a morning person was a lot easier. And so what that just means is like, hey, maybe you sleep in your workout clothes. So when you wake up, you just go get the workout done. Right. This is also beautiful if you work out from home, because then you just roll out up in your PJs and just go work out. But if you have to go to the gym, that means that maybe you do sleep in your gym clothes or have it set aside with everything that you need or pre-pack in your bag. Maybe it's, maybe choosing having a like a morning playlist that helps you get into the groove, while you're still kind of waking up. Maybe you associate like, oh, morning workouts are so fun because I get to sip my favorite coffee and get my little workout in, whatever, right? Like, just what is it that you can do the night before to make your morning workouts more possible for yourself? Okay, that's one. The evening or post work type of workout also comes down to, and you can leverage nighttime rituals for this. And so having a gym bag packed with all the stuff and all the electronics like ready to go. And maybe even like reframing that this is not another thing that you have to do, but this is something that you do for yourself. This is your me time, the only time of the day that you get to carve out just for you, where it's just you, yourself, in the gym or the workouts or the weights or whatever, right? Or your music or whatever. Maybe you listen to podcasts when you're working out. I don't know. But just reframing what it means to show up, right? A lot of my clients in the past is like after work, if they go home to maybe have a little meal, they're never going to make it to the gym. So what they found what works for them is like after work to go straight to the gym, which means that they do have to pack ahead of time the change of clothes for the gym, the shoes, the headphones, making sure the headphones are charged because the last thing you need is to pull up to the gym and your headphones is dead and you don't want to be there. You're like, well, I guess it's a sign. I'm just not going to get my workout in. So those are very like I know those are all just random things, but you get the gist, right? If you struggle to get your workout in, no matter what time of the day it is, you have to ask yourself, like, well, what can I do? What can I prepare ahead of time to make it easier for me to just show up and get it done, despite how I feel? Okay. Make it easy. Okay. Don't rely on willpower. You use your willpower a lot across the day. And if it's a topic that you want me to cover in the next episode and future episodes, please let me know because I think that this culture that we're in, relies so heavily on willpower and not necessarily understand that it's like, it's not just about having willpower, but also understanding like you have a finite amount of it. And so you need to be able to use it strategically in a way that supports you and your lifestyle or the lifestyle that you're trying to build. Okay. So I'm not going to go down too far into that rabbit hole, but you get the gist. Just make sure no matter what time of the day you're working out, do what you need to do to prepare or get ahead of moments when you don't feel like it, right? Make it easy on yourself. That I guess like that's the whole thing, right? Just make it easy on yourself. Just take 5 to 10 minutes out of your nighttime or out of your day to just prepare for that moment when you need to get your workout in. Make it easy on yourself. Okay. There's nothing else to it but that. The other part is this attitude of like compassion over criticism. Now, oftentimes people associate with like this feeling of like, I don't feel like working out. Something's wrong with me. Like, why can't I just get myself to do what I need to do? Like, why am I always struggling with this? Like, here's the thing. It is so normal for you to feel this way. You're not meant to always feel 110% to do your workout. In fact, for a lot of y'all, like working out is just another responsibility on your long list of things that you need to do. And a lot of times the reason for this lack of motivation or this lack of like wanting to get the workout done is stemming from something else. Like it could be feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, juggling so much, or being burned out, or just like maybe as a woman we're at that cycle, we're in our luteal phase where our mood is shot, like we don't have the energy, we ain't really feeling it, like we're feeling all kinds of stuff. And so you're like, why is it so much harder for me to do it today? Like what's going on? Hey man, you're only human, you're not meant to feel 110%. It's okay. Let's normalize the ebbs and flows, okay, of our motivation and all of it. So before you even go to what's wrong with me, I want you to know there ain't nothing wrong with you. All right. Please have more compassion for yourself, not criticism. All right. So, one of the things that I will say is that reframing your self talk is very important. So, like I said earlier, instead of saying, what's wrong with me? I'm like, you know what? I'm human. This is so normal. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm just human having a human experience, having human emotions. Like, that's fine. Or, for example, I should be more motivated. Like, I've been at this for so long. Like, I should be better at this by now. And you'd be like, you know what? I don't feel like it. And I'm still going to show up regardless and just do my best. That's it. The powerful part there is the end. Validate how you're feeling. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I don't feel like it. And insert you doing what you want to do, anyways, right? I'm tired. I'm busy. I don't got time for this. I don't feel like it. And I'm still going to show up and do my best. I'm still going to do it anyway. Okay. Because this is not about getting the most perfect workout or only showing up when you feel 110%. This is about training yourself that you're someone who shows up no matter what or how you're feeling, that you can trust yourself to still stay committed to yourself and your health and fitness goal, to be disciplined and not one little for when you're feeling off, that's not enough to stop you. Now, I will go over some some caveats to that, because there are also times where I'll advise my clients, like, you know what, skip the workout. You don't need to get the workout. The whole point is not to get the workout. You know what I mean? Like, there's nuances, there's context to everything, and I'll go into that in a little bit here, but I just want to finish my thought on the whole compassion part. But yeah, like, also even approaching it, like, in terms of reframing it, is like, you know what, the past me scheduled this workout because it was important, and I know that the future version of myself was going to thank me for it. That is also a reframe. I want you to understand that not feeling it doesn't mean that you are not capable of getting it done or you have the inability to do it. Okay. The feeling also doesn't have to dictate your action or commitment. Okay. What would also be helpful is that you can ask yourself, will this emotion or this feeling make the decision for me or not? Will this emotion or feeling make the decision for me, or will I? Right? Because you are not your emotions. They're part of you, but you are not your emotions. You still get to choose and act differently than how you feel. Next one, permission to suck at it. Here's the thing, a crappy, sucky workout is better than no workout at all. Because, like I said earlier, it's about consistency. It's about protecting your momentum, not perfection. Okay. So I know it's like a lot of times I hear this over and over again. Well, I don't have time to do a whole hour workout, so I'm just not going to get it done anyways. How did we go from 1 hour to skipping it altogether? Like, what happened to shortening the time? What happened to, oh, you know what? Not feeling weights today, so I'm just not going to do anything. Well, you can also just spin the block. Like, you can walk around the block. You can go on the treadmill or whatever stuff. You could do something. Like, I think that it's never about, it's either this or that. It's not about this or skip it. Like, do this or skip it. It's always like, if you can't do this, then what's a toned down version of that? Like, if I can't do this today, well, what can I? That is more effective and efficient at supporting you than going from can't do what I have planned. So I guess I'm just going to have to skip until I can. Nah, nah, forget that. If all you have to give is 70% today and you give it your all, that's 100%. Okay. That's it. You showed up, win. That's a victory already. You have to modify the workout. Fine. It still counts. Still counts. You did less than usual. You usually work out an hour, you only did 30 minutes, or you usually work out 45 minutes and you only did a quick 15-minute walk. You still got the workout done. Okay? Don't be so hard on yourself. And speaking of being hard on yourself, remember what I said earlier, compassion over criticism. You don't get to build confidence. You don't get to build consistency by being your own biggest hater, by being your worst inner critic. Okay? Guess what? Compassion is a strategy. Maybe you won't learn that until you're in therapy. I don't know, but I'm just saying compassion is actually a strategy. Self love is actually a strategy. If you need evidence, just know that this is the cornerstone of what I do with my coaching. This is how a lot of my clients actually get the results that they want, because they get to show up from a place of love, not hate, when it comes to transforming their bodies and their lives. They get to work with their body, not against it. And I'll expand on that a little bit more. And one of the ways that working with your body instead of against it shows up, which is like understanding your menstrual cycle. And I'm not asking anybody to cycle sync. Okay. That's not what it is. All I'm asking you to do is to get familiar or acquainted with your patterns when it comes to your menstrual cycle. Okay. Not everybody has a regular cycle. Some has irregular cycle. And a lot of the tips and tricks and stuff that you see on the internet can be very misleading, because there might more than likely they're not speaking to you. So that's fine. That's not something to be discouraged by, but it's just something to be made aware. So what I want you to walk away with is understanding that, like, hey, you've had your cycle for decades at this point, right? You're not new to it, but maybe you haven't been paying attention to it too much, which is why I'm inviting you to actually get into the habit of paying attention and being curious about the patterns that you have and the symptoms that you're noticing and feeling. You're not like you're flip-flopping between your luteal phase into your ovulation and your follicular phase. Okay. The whole entire menstrual cycle, just pay attention. You'll notice that there are days and weeks that you feel your absolute best, and then days and weeks where you feel like absolute freaking trash. The reason why I want more women to be more acquainted and familiar with their symptoms and just their patterns when it comes to like navigating through their menstrual cycle and sticking to their fitness plan or, being on a fitness journey is because with those high and low peaks of energy, mood, or whatever, and strain tolerance, you'll notice that some days are a lot easier to be committed and show up and be motivated. Other days, not so much. What is tough to witness is that women are told that you just have to suck it up and push yourself through it when you're not necessarily feeling the absolute best. And I feel like that messaging is so damaging for a lot of women to just start paying attention. How's your energy level at different stages of your menstrual cycle? How's your mood? How's your strain tolerance? Like, how much can you push yourself, right? Or how hard could you push yourself at different times of your menstrual cycle? Which weeks do you feel like they're strongest versus which week do you feel more fatigued and like are just not feeling your best and cannot do what you normally can do, and just be aware of where that is. And there are so many apps that you can utilize now to be able to pinpoint your period. With that being said, the reason why I want you to just get curious about your body's pattern is because oftentimes a lot of my clients would be so hard on themselves about not being able to maintain their consistency or be able to push themselves as hard during their luteal phase or right around the period time. And I know you're probably thinking, I'm like, oh, well, actually, I feel fine during my period. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's amazing for you. Happy for you. But there are actually women out there who struggle with like really severe cramps and or have heavy bleeding that the last thing they want to do is go sweat and work out when they're bleeding a lot and or are dealing with so much pain. What would be more supportive for them is to actually go more into a restorative type of movement. And guess what? That gets to be okay. So what the problem is I often see is that there's this hesitation for women to be able to just push through and get it all done at no matter where they are in their cycle. And I for the most part, I just give my clients permission to like not necessarily skip their workout, but just change the intensity of what they're doing for their workout or choose to do something that's more supportive of them of where they're at. I'm not going to force a woman who's having heavy bleeding to go to the gym and work out when it's the last thing they want to do. What I do instead, I'll ask my clients, can you do instead? What feels more supportive for you? Because they're not necessarily trying to skip their workout. They just don't want to do the workout or don't feel comfortable doing the workout that they usually do. But guess what? They can choose to go for a walk. They can choose to do some stretches or some yoga, some light things. They can choose to still do maybe their workout, but just a shorter version or a less intense version, or just go easier and just do less. That gets to be okay. I'm like, you're not going to destroy your progress by taking a couple days of the month to take it easy. In fact, I would always tell my clients, it's like, you know what? Treat it as if it's a deload phase. Like if that's where you're at, amazing. Now, I do have other clients where, and this is also me, the first few days of the period, I feel fantastic. I feel great. It's before I start my period that I'm like, nope, I can't. I feel weak. I'm moody as hell. I don't want to be here. And yet once I start my workout or my period and I have a normal period where it's not super heavy, guess what I'm able to do? I can actually push myself, pull weights that I'm like, oh wow, I thought it would suck because I'm on period, but I'm not. I actually feel pretty great. As you can see, there's a ton of nuances when it comes to this. And for me, instead of making this just another taboo topic, I lean into this with a lot of my clients, right? So this is, like I said earlier, the concept of work with your body, not against it, because this is about awareness, okay? This is about awareness. When you can recognize your own patterns where this is the time where I feel my best and this is the time where I don't feel my best, I'm usually fatigued, you then get to take a step back and be like, you know what? I don't need to be so freaking hard on myself. Like I get to give myself some grace because this is the time of the week where I just can't, and not gets to be okay. This could be treated as my recovery week and not or my deload stage, whatever. Like I think as women we're expected to push, 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 but there is so much value in being able to actually have dedicated recovery days. And on top of that, if we're already meant to take recovery days, then why not just naturally work with your cycle of like, hey, this is the time of the week I don't feel too great. I'm not feeling my absolute best. You know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to use that as an opportunity for me to scale it back, to scale back the intensity, to do something light, low intensity, do something that helps me feel better to get my movement in. Because a lot of my clients always do feel much better when they're doing some form of movement instead of just rotting in bed or rotting in the couch or whatever whenever they're on their period. Okay. So again, it goes back to just getting familiar and acquainted with your pattern, your body's pattern at different stages of the menstrual cycle, right? And this is not something for you to obsess about. Again, keep it simple. Okay. Keep it simple. The beautiful thing about it is like you know your body more than anybody. Okay. That's funny. You know yourself more than anybody. And so the last thing you want, and it's just including me, don't let me tell you how to run your body. These are just general advice, but this might not work for you. Like, what if you're someone who just like during when you have your period for 3 to 4 days, if that is the day where you just don't do anything and you just take 3 days and skip the movement, fine. If that's what works for you, and the rest of the month you're actually consistent, you're working out 4 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever, fine. It's not going to change drastically your results for you to skip like 3 days when you're consistent the rest of the month. Like, I'm not going to fault you for it. So I guess it's also very helpful to take a step back and just recognize that, like, where do you stand in that, right? Like, are you actually someone who's consistently working out and you're being hard on yourself because there's a couple days of the week or of the month that you're not operating at your usual? Like, at that point, I'm just like, all right, you need to give yourself some grace and some compassion. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about when it's okay to skip. Okay. One of them is if you already tried everything and nothing that you're trying, not the 3 C's to framework to crush your excuses, not the hype ritual that you just learned, or, like anything else, if none of it is working, permission to just reschedule. Okay. It's fine. If nothing is happening, you've tried everything, like absolutely tried everything, go ahead and just reschedule that workout. Okay. Now, the other time I would also want you to just like skip the workout is if you had to choose between sleep or getting a workout in. Choose the sleep. Okay. I'm not going to get into as to why. I think if you're tuning into this podcast, you might already have a sense of why sleep is super important. But just to give you a brief overview, when your sleep habits is trash, i.e. you're not getting enough of it or you're not getting quality sleep, it can really affect your weight loss and your fat loss. Okay. Also, permission to skip if you're sick, especially if the symptoms is below the neck. Okay. If you're coughing, if all of it is here and it's not symptoms above the head, skip it, babe, skip it. Another reason to skip is injuries that if you were to move, it'll make it worse. Okay. Focus on healing first. You'll be back in no time. Don't worry. And this one's a little bit tricky because for a lot of people, the working out helps with their mental health and emotional health. But a lot of times when people are in huge mental health crisis or going through extreme levels of stress, when the workout feels like another stressor and not a good type of stress, not the you stress, but just bad stress in general, that is permission for you to skip. Okay. There is a difference though. Like, just know there's sometimes you can have a bad day, but that doesn't mean you're in crisis. Like, I think what is hard to determine sometimes is like you'll have people who are just naturally more dramatic about what they're going through. Right. And like, we love those people, but also it's just like, okay, calm down. Like, you're not even in crisis. Like, you're just saying, you're just throwing like people in crisis. Okay. They're in crisis. Like, if you, I can't even get into it, but just like in moments where you're going through extreme crisis or extreme stress, if working out, like I said, feels like another stressor for you and not the good kind, I bet my bottom dollar on it, rest is going to be more productive for you than forcing yourself to get the workout in. Now, there are other times when, life is lifing and getting that workout in is the only time you get a semblance of peace or get a semblance of like doing something for yourself, or it becomes more of a stress relief. That's a different one. In that case, go get your workout in. Okay. And also, I think that with challenging times, like going through a lot of different things, and this is so different for a lot of people, but like when your life is chaotic, you have to have a lot more grace and compassion for yourself. It doesn't mean that you get a hall pass to then not do anything because life is chaotic or you're going through a lot of different things or lifestyle changes. It's not a hall pass for you to just not even try. It's more of a signal for you to approach it with more grace and compassion. Okay. Another reason to skip is like when you're not feeling like working out and you notice that you've been at it for 6 days straight. Okay. Maybe you do need that rest. Like maybe you can skip this one, not even reschedule, but just skip. Like if you're working out 6 days a week and sometimes even double on some of those days, don't you think you need rest? So yeah, maybe then you reschedule or you cancel it. All right. So, as we're wrapping up here, I just want to remind you that you're not always going to feel motivated to get it done. It's okay. You're human. This is not about you always crushing it. This is just about doing your absolute best. And some days you'll have to probably crawl yourself through it or drag yourself through it. But no matter what, you just showing up, you just even trying gets to already count, because the goal isn't to only show up when you absolutely feel like it or have 100% like motivation. The goal is to be able to still show up and choose in a way that's in alignment with your highest self value or your goals, and do it despite how you're feeling, despite the emotions that are coming up. Like to be able to prove to yourself that you can actually stay committed no matter what, and not at the expense of your own mental health, by the way. One of the things that I want you to walk away with from this episode is to understand that all of these things, all these strategies, the tips and tricks that I'm teaching you, is a way for you to train yourself to be someone who gets to show up and stay committed and stay consistent despite what they're feeling or how they're feeling. Okay. I don't want you to be someone who only is capable of staying consistent or committed when they feel 100% A-OK or 110% motivated. I want you to be able to still do it no matter what. No matter where your mood is at that day, no matter what your motivation is at that day, no matter what, you still get to get it done, and not at the expense of your own well-being, by the way. That's the biggest distinction, because there is a very toxic trap where people be like, no, just push through. Just push through. Sometimes pushing through isn't the answer. Another thing that I want you to walk away with is a mindset shift of like, I have to I get to. I think that's the thing about navigating through your fitness journey, is that a lot of times it feels like you just have to do the things. Like it becomes this obligation, you know? And to some degree, yes, it is. But also, you ain't got to do nothing you don't want to do, right? Like there's a reason why you're on this fitness journey. Like, let's not forget about the deeper why of why we're working out or taking better care of ourselves. Like, there's a reason for why we're doing this. We're not doing this just because. And again, you ain't got to do nothing. No one can force you to do anything. But a mindset shift from I have to I get to is so supportive for anyone who struggles to be able to like navigate through this feeling of like, oh, I don't want to. I don't want to. I forgot to mention this earlier, but one of the things that you also can remind yourself that like, hey, these feelings are temporary. I'll gonna feel better later. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and just do my absolute best and just give it my all. Even if my all today looks like putting in 70%, and 70% is all I can give. So here's a recap of what to do when you don't feel like working out. 1, revisit the 3C framework for crushing your excuses. The link to that episode is going to be in the show notes. 2, create your own pre-gym or pre-workout hype ritual. All right. Whether that's you blasting your favorite hype music, shaking your booty, okay, or sipping some Brevi, whatever. Do what you need to do. Okay. 3, compassion over criticism. Some days you're just not going to feel like it. And that is just part of the human experience. It is not a hall pass for you to then go ahead and just skip because you're not feeling 110%. Train yourself to be someone who still is able to honor the commitment that they made to themselves despite feeling the way that they're feeling. Okay. Just because you're not feeling it doesn't mean that you're unable to get it done or unable to stick through it. Okay. What number are we? 4 is permission to suck. All right. Some days you're just not going to be crushing it. Some days you're having to drag yourself and crawl through it. Whatever. It is what it is. Okay. People who have been at this for a minute will tell you, yeah, most days it's going to look like that. That's just part of it. Normalize it. I think we are too distracted and seeing all the high reels of everyone just making working out look so easy, when really if you sat down with every single person who's been at this for decades, they'll tell you it's hard, Most days and it is easy, but the more you practice, the more you give yourself the opportunity to get better, to sharpen the skills, to sharpen your skills, this gets to be easier. And I'll attest to this all day, by the way. Like, only me in my early 30s is the only time that I actually felt like working out became easier. Can you imagine that? It took me this freaking long. I've been working out since I was in high school. What the hell? Anyways, the fifth one is just giving yourself a chance to get familiar and acquainted with your own patterns when it comes to your menstrual cycle. Okay. The more you know about yourself, the more you can actually anticipate that, you know what, this ain't the week for me to be pushing. This is the week for me to just do my best, to do what feels more supportive of me, and to trust that I know how to take care of myself better than anybody else is telling me how to operate. Okay. So understand what that is for you. All right. And lastly, it's just understanding when it's actually okay for you to skip your workout or reschedule it. Okay. I think that the narrative oftentimes is it done no matter what. You're not allowed to skip. If you skip, you're lazy. If that was the truth, wouldn't a lot of people or a lot of women who are doing just exactly that, following that advice, wouldn't they all be reaching their goals by now? If it was supportive to work against your body, we wouldn't be having the problems that we're currently having when it comes to women and working out. But that's a topic for another day. Again, thank you for listening. That was a really fun topic today, but this was inspired by me literally. I'm sure you'll probably see it in my social media, but girl, I recorded myself trying to get myself hyped. There, you can see I was not having it. Like, it just wasn't happening. But you know what? That's okay. That's all right. It's just part of it. By the way, I'm curious, what do you do when you don't feel like working out? Like, what helps you stay committed, stay consistent? Please share in the comments or like message me on Instagram and let me know. But I think that it's so helpful to share some of the things that we've done and tried, because I bet you the stuff I mentioned here are just like the tip of the iceberg. It's not even like everything. And I bet you there's so many people out there that have found other strategies and tips and tricks that they could do that helps them whenever they don't feel like working out. So if you do have something to share that hasn't been shared in the podcast, or you just want to like co-sign what I mentioned on the podcast, please drop it in the comments or let me know on Instagram. Okay. Thank you again for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.